Good morning, Ayya. Wonderful to have you here at the BSV. It's not often that we get to hear a Dhamma talk from you. We're really looking forward to it. Thank you, Ayya. Okay, so I've got a stack of announcements today, so you're going to have to bear with me, okay? So I'll start with a quiz. Does everybody know what's happening next week, next Sunday?
Yes.
Kathina. Fantastic. And where is it being held?
Newbury.
Newbury, not here, okay? Does everybody know what time it starts at? 9:30, okay, but be there at 9 o'clock, okay? But well done. So the Kathina next week will be at the monastery. It goes from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. At night. So just a bit of a rundown, a really brief rundown of the program. So 9:30 a.m. there'll be a welcome followed by a Dhamma talk. At 10:45 there'll be a rice pinnapada followed by a communal lunch. At 12:30 there'll be the Kathina ceremony, after which members of the lay community can make offerings of robes and other requisites to the MBM monastics. And at 2 p.m. there'll be an open day walking tours of the retreat centre at Newbury. If you're planning to come to the event, then please aim to be there at 9 a.m. and please bring ready-to-eat food to share with the monastic and the lay community. The reason for that is we just don't have the capacity to heat up hundreds and hundreds of dishes, okay? Perhaps not hundreds and hundreds, but lots and lots of dishes, all right? For those who want to take the bus will leave here at 7 p.m. sharp and it'll arrive at Newbury before 9 a.m. or around 9 a.m. And the return trip from Newbury to the BSV here at Malvern it'll be leaving at 3 p.m. Now there are bus tickets still available. Like if you were looking on the website, it was only probably showing up about 2 or 3. But yeah, we had reserved some additional seats for them to be sold here at the at the Malvern Centre. We're putting them back online so that if you do want to catch the bus, there's Adrian 10. Yeah, so we've got a total of 13 seats available now. So the centre will be closed. So this centre will not be open next Sunday. All right, we'll be returning back to normal programs on the Monday. And also the AV team will make the morning session from 9:30 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. available on YouTube from Newbury. But we will not be offering it on other platforms like Zoom or Discord. Okay, so yeah, so Adrian just reminded me, people can actually purchase robes as an offering to the monastics on the day. The second announcement here is our monthly day retreat, and also our monthly day retreat is on the first Saturday of the month, which is 2nd of December. So that's also going to be run in conjunction with the One Mindful Day retreat for the Discover Buddhism participants. And we're basically merging those two programs together for that particular Saturday. So Ajahn Sadhara will be conducting that. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So please bring a dish to share with the monastic and the lay communities. That's normally not what happens on the Saturday retreats, but we'll be running that as a shared lunch. So the retreat will mainly be silent, but not completely silent. So that includes a really wonderful 20-minute silent eating meditation practice. Final announcement. So the moderators of our online platforms have decided to remove the geographical restrictions that we previously had on metropolitan Melbourne for our online audience, for our online sessions. So starting today, we've actually allowed this to come in on Discord. Oh, you've got another camera on me there, Kwang. Right, fantastic. And you're able to access this on Zoom, offering a more interactive experience for our participants. And also, we've increased our video capacity coming in through Zoom as well. So the Monday night guided meditations will soon also be transitioning to online interactive format. They'll also run on YouTube as well. And the Saturday meditation retreats will be also offered in that interactive format as long as we have AV resources available, because they do run for an entire day, okay? So to ensure a smooth and secure experience for our Zoom, for our audience, the Zoom links will not be publicly posted on our website or the newsletter. Instead, they'll be accessible via Discord events listing page, and that minimises the risk of unwanted attendees coming on board, commonly referred to as Zoom bombers. Okay, and final note, while we've expanded our access, we really encourage people within the metropolitan Melbourne and people who live within the metropolitan Melbourne to take full advantage of the opportunity to come and attend the sessions in person at the BSV. Join us here for the complete experience that those living further away simply cannot experience. Okay, so that's why we've lifted the restrictions, but we really do want you to come to the BSV. So that's about it in terms of main announcements. So this week's teaching program, Monday night, so tomorrow night, Ajahn Sadharo. Tuesday will be Sandeep. Friday night, we've got the Discover Buddhism final session for Introduction to Buddhist Thought and Practice, week number 4. And next week's teaching program will be Sunday, the Kathina ceremony at Newbury, and then Monday night will be Ajahn Sadharo here back at the BSV. That's it for announcements. Thank you very much. And I'll pass it on to Savitri.
Shall I start now? Mayang Ayya Tisarnena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Dutiyampi Mayang Ayya Tisarnena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Tatiyampi Mayang Ayya Tisarnena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama. So please to repeat after me. I'm going to do it in Pali. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Ti saranang gamanang nittitang. So now the 5 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinnadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sura meraya majapamadatana veramani sikhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us all do the recollection of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha together in Pali. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijja charana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattadeva manussanang buddho bhagavati swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehipasiko panaiko pacchatang veditappo vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho samicipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho yadidang Tari purisa yugani atta purisa pukkala esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaneyo anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Do we do the metta chant now? Is there a metta chant? That's how good I am with IT. Okay, we'll do it in Pali. I really like the rhythm there. It's so calming and it's so soothing and it really calms the mind down to prepare us for what we're going to do later on. Yep. Together, please. Karaniya mata kusalena yang tang sang tang padang abhisamecha sako uju cha suju cha suvacho cha samudu anatimani santu sako cha subaro cha apakicho cha sallahukavutti santindriyo cha nipako Kocha apagappo kulesu ananogito nacha kuddang samachare kinshiyena vinyupare upavadeyung sukhino wa khemino hontu sabbe satta bhavangtu sukhitatta ye keshipana buddhati tasavata varava anavasesa digava ye mahantava majit marasa kanukatula dittava eva aditta ye chadure vasanti avedure bhutava sambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta naparo parang nikubeta nati manne tata Trachinang Kanchi Biaro Sana Patika Sanya Nanya Manya Saduka Mecheya Matayatani Yang Putang Ayusa Eka Putta Manurake Evam Pisappa Bhutesu Manasang Bhavaye Aparimanang Metang Cha Sappa Lokasmin Manasang Bhavaye Aparimanang Uddang adocha tiriyang cha asambadang averang asapatang titang charang nisinno vasayano vayavatasa vigatamiddo etang sating aditteya brahma metang viharang idamaho ditting chanupagamma sila vadasanena sampanno kame suviniya gedang nahi jatu gapaseyang punaretiti. And for the benefit of those who are not familiar with this chant, can we have it in English recitation, please, so that everybody knows what the chant is all about? It's such a beautiful chant. Even the non-Buddhists, they actually do ask for a copy of this chant when you actually recite it in English with them. It is a universal kind of quality of the heart, so let us just do recitation, okay, in English. I have to refer here. Okay, let's do it together, please. These are the qualities that we have to follow. Okay, this is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness, and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to wrong views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So thank you to the BSV community, especially the AV team, to our nuns here, and especially to all of you here to make today happen. Okay, now there was a request for me to speak on the topic which we are all talking about in all Theravada Buddhist monasteries or temples today, or rather this month. The topic they requested for is Kathina. What is Kathina? Has the word Kathina, the term Kathina, been correctly understood? Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about today. Many of you perhaps have already known the meaning of Kathina, but for the benefit of those who are new to the ceremony, or so-called, it is actually not just a ceremony, it is actually something that the laity and the Sangha actually have a very close interaction to support the Sangha according to Vinaya rules. So before I talk on Kathina, we have to trace back to why Kathina is there. So Vasa. When we talk about Vasa, rains, retreat 3 months, then we have to trace back to see why Vasa was recommended by the Lord Buddha. Okay, so we start from the cause of why Vasa was recommended by Lord Buddha. Okay, so what happened was during the Buddha's time, during the rain season, you see India has 3 seasons of 4 months each. So about July, August, September, October, about 4 months, they have this rain season. So during the Buddha's time, the other sects like the Jains and other wanderers, they were actually all stopped. They all stopped wandering during the rain seasons, mainly because they do not wish to, tread on crops or insects, killing them or destroying vegetation. So during that time, the Buddha still did not introduce the stopping of wandering by his disciples. So there were complaints by the laity that, hey, Lord Buddha, every other practitioners, they are actually stationed in one place, not trampling on crops, not trampling on the insects because of the waters and all those things. You and your disciples are not doing that. So because of that feedback from the laity, the Buddha actually decided that yes, it's true, he has to do something about it. So that is the reason why he recommended that monks, for this raining season, please stay put in one place. Okay, so there's a lot of rules and regulation as to what monks and nuns, okay, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis should do during these 3 months, right? The important thing is to really stay in one place and go deeper into your practice or meditation and all that, so that you don't go out wandering and trampling on vegetation and insects. Okay, so that is the reason why Lord Buddha introduced the Vasa period. So during this Vasa period, when we had the invitation from the laity to spend Vasa period with them, it could be in your home, or it could be in a monastery, or like here, BS at this BCM, or at Newbury. It has to be a place where the support for the monastic for their 3 months retreat is sustainable. So during this 3 months, there are a few rules and regulations that monks, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis are supposed to observe. Now, important thing is that during those times when the monks and nuns were observing the Vasa period, there were incidences where someone is sick, or a relative is sick, or someone wants to ordain, or someone wants to offer some benefits to the Sangha and all those things. So at first the monks were not accepting all these invitations and all that, because they thought that, well, Lord Buddha asked us to stay at one place, so we decided to stay at one place. But when the Buddha learned about all this kind of invitation for the monks or nuns to go and visit a sick person or do something that's very necessary, then the Buddha was saying, no, monks are allowed all these things to be done. So there's a whole list in our Vinaya rules. If you really are interested, you can read our Vinaya rules. I think in the Mahavakka, the big chapter in the Vinaya rules, or the Book of Discipline, as we call it, they are all listed there. There's a whole list of things that the Buddha says during these 3 months of rains retreat, you can go out of your rains residence to attend to all these important actions, okay, required or requested by people who need it very badly. Within 7 days, we have to return. Okay, now this is the reason why this year Ajahn Nisarano had to go back to Perth to visit his very sick brother And it was very fortunate that he really went there. He had to return within 7 days. When he returned, the brother was still quite sick, but at the end stage of his life. So after a few days after Ajahn return, the brother did pass away. So it was so important that, during this period of rains residence, when something as important as this is requested, we have to be there. Okay, so this is the Buddha's enabling the monastics to continue practicing at one place, and then at the same time be of service to people at the same time as and when is needed. Not to say, Ayya Upekkha, come, let's go shopping, you can come back within 7 days. No way. Okay? All right. Very important and necessary task. The Buddha said, please, out of compassion, please do that. Okay? So this is the reason why from the complaints of the lay people, then we have this Vasa period, 3 months, all right? So, of course, Vasa period, again, there was this invitation from King Bimbisara to say that, hey, I have a beautiful place. Why don't you and your monks come here to observe rain season here? And then, of course, again, the monks were very, very obedient to Lord Buddha. Says, well, I don't think we can accept because Lord Buddha says we have to start from July to this month, okay, whatever, 3 months. So when the Lord Buddha heard that it is actually the king's request, then the Buddha says, yes, dear monks, yes, I do allow you to accept what the king has recommended. That's why sometimes you can see the monastics who are observing the second period of the Vasa period, which starts 1 month later from the full moon of July. Yeah, so from the new moon of July, it goes on, okay? So it goes on to July, and then 3 months later, or you can be 1 month later from July, and then extend it to the next month. So altogether, almost 4 months, okay? So it is important for us to know that the word Kathina actually is not ceremony, all right? During the Buddha's time, what happened was when there was this rain season when 30 monks from the place called Pava wanted to come and visit Lord Buddha in Savatthi, right? So, during the Buddha's time, everyone has to go on foot, all right, or by some other means, but most of them go on foot. So during the rain season, they had to stop by at one place called Sakata, which is still away from Lord Buddha's residence in Sravasti. I think he was at another Pindika's park, I think, at that time. So during that time, the 30 monks, they observed Vasa together at Sakata, and after the rain seasons, they decided to continue their journey to pay a visit to Lord Buddha. So of course, as the rain season is 4 months, so after the first 3 months, it was still raining. So the 30 monks actually walked through the rain and the swarms and all that, and by the time they arrived at another Pindika's place to visit Lord Buddha, they were all drenched and wet, and some of them had torn robes and all that. So of course, when they visited Lord Buddha, Buddha, as usual, asked, dear monks, how was your community? Were you all given enough support and everything? So the monks said, yes, we have enough support, Lord Buddha. We actually stopped by at Sakata to complete our 3 months. And here we are hoping to see you because you are not too far away from us. So seeing that the monks actually had all these drenched and torn robes and dirty robes and all that, then the Buddha actually mentioned something. Now, if you look at the Mahavagga again, I always had this question, what did the Buddha say when he looked at the 30 monks, besides asking how they were and all that? So there were not much details as to what the Buddha mentioned about the 30 monks with all their drenched robes and all that. But what we found in the Mahavagga is that the Buddha says that, monks, I allow you monks to spread a Kathina, okay? A Kathina. So the word Kathina actually is the name of a wooden frame. I think it's a wooden frame that is foldable during the Lord Buddha's time. Because can you imagine that in the Lord Buddha's time, there isn't any sewing machine or anything like that. So, and during the Buddha's time, you don't just have rope cloths offered to you or something that you can buy from the shops by the lay people to offer to you. What the monks did during those times was they had to go and collect the cloth from either the corpse from the cemetery or some thrown away pieces of rope of materials or whatever. Then they have to come and clean it up and then dry them and then stitch it up. They have to actually dye them and then turn it into a robe. It was very difficult. And also at that time, I think most commentaries were mentioning that the Lord Buddha also wanted to ensure the monastics actually have this opportunity to support one another, to build up a bond among the community of monks. And this is the reason why he actually gave the recommendation of spreading the Kathina. Now I'll go to explain what is the spreading of Kathina later on. What I would like to bring up is that even as a lay person, when we were in the monastery and after the rain season, we were taught that, okay, we're going to have a Kathina ceremony and all that. So what we experienced when I was a lay person is almost similar to what most Buddhists are experiencing now. What happened is that the temples or the monastery, whether they have one monk or more than one monk. A lot of times in Singapore, the monasteries don't have more than 5 monks. So what they do is that they will invite, monastics, monks, okay, to form a big quorum. And then they say, we're going to have a Kathina ceremony. So what happened is that robes will be ordered from factories in Thailand or somewhere, right? And then they will be sold to the devotees to offer in so-called a Kathina day. And besides the robes, they also offer other kinds of requisites, okay? I think most of the time we find a lot of like toothpaste, toothbrush, toilet papers, and all those things that you usually offered to us during Kathina day, okay? So, and the other thing that I wish to mention was that it also was an opportunity for the temple or the monastics to also receive, in Singapore we call it red packets, ang paos, right? In here we have the white packets, which is the white envelopes where you put money in there. Now, those so-called Kathina days were actually days where the offerings were given to the monastics in the form of material needs as well as cash. Okay. Now, before Ajahn Brahm went to Singapore, we have no idea what the veneer rules were all about, because as lay people, we depend on monastics to tell us what is the actual procedure for Kathina and what is the usual procedure for offerings to monastics and all that. So we just followed. Whatever was taught to us, we just followed. And it went on for years and years and years. We just followed, thinking that we are doing a very meritorious deed, which indeed is meritorious because you are helping to sustain the Sangha, okay? Until we became monastics ourselves, and we have to study the veneer rules, okay? Then we realize that the true meaning of Kathina is not just offering of robes, not just offering of completely sewn robes or just materials and all that. That's not the meaning of the real term Kathina. When the Buddha recommended Kathina to be spread by the Sangha, it means that any monastery or any temple who have at least 5 monks or 5 nuns, bhikkhus or bhikkhunis, not samaneras or samaneries, okay? Bhikkhus or bhikkhunis, if they have 5 of them spending vasa together at the same place, then we qualify to have a Kathina. Kathina, as I was mentioning, is the term used for the frame for sewing the rope, okay? Kathina. So it's actually the name of the frame, right? And to qualify for a community of bhikkhus or bhikkhunis to spread the Kathina, we need 5 fully ordained monks, bhikkhus or bhikkhunis, right? This year we had 4 bhikkhunis. We cannot spread the Kathina. We don't have a 5th one. But this year, like last year, Newbury had 5 bhikkhus spending vasa together. So they are qualified to spread the Kathina. Why 5? Why 5? 4, because it takes 4 bhikkhus or bhikkhunis to do a Sangha karma. 4 bhikkhus to confer a robe to one other monk or nun who is deserving and who is in need of a robe. That's why only those monasteries with 5 bhikkhus or 5 bhikkhunis observing vasa together during the 3 months, they have the qualification to really spread the Kathina. So what happens during the Kathina day? Okay, as you have, I think many of you actually did participate in last year's Kathina ceremony. There's this piece of cloth. No, during the Buddhist time, as I was mentioning, the cloth has to be picked up from here and then put together. But nowadays, we are very fortunate. You see, cloth are not so difficult to come by. And nowadays, what we can do is that we can actually receive a cloth that is already colored in the robes or the color of the robe that the monastic is using. So this piece of cloth cannot be solicited. It cannot be hinted by the monastic say, hey, Shijuth, it's Kathina. You want to offer us a piece of robe? No, it doesn't qualify. That's the reason why the lay people who are supporting monastics have to know the rules, the Vinaya rules of the monastics, so that you can support us according to the code of discipline. So during Kathina Day, this piece of cloth is actually offered voluntarily by a layperson or a group of laypersons, right? Without any hints from the Sangha, okay? And they have to ensure that the piece of cloth is big enough to turn into a underrobe or upper robe for the monastic who is spreading the Kathina, okay? And what happened is, during Kathina Day, the robe has to be offered to the Sangha, to the either bhikkhu or bhikkhuni Sangha who can do Kathina. And then after receiving the robe cloth, it's just a piece of cloth, okay? It is the monks or nuns who need to sew it into a robe, not the laity. Then it is called a Kathina robe. It is actually sewn by the monks or the nuns community who are spreading who has a monk who is spreading the Kathina. So this Kathina cloth has to be washed and cut and measured and everything to the requirement of this monastic who is receiving the Kathina robe. So everything has been done within that same day. Okay, for instance, like this year we're going to offer the Kathina. I think one of the lay persons from the community is offering the Kathina robe to the monks, just like last year. And after receiving that, they have to really sew the robe on that very day to be completed before dawn of the next day. Hopefully, that's why, you know, as monastics, whether you are a monk or a nun, we must know how to sew a robe. This is something we need to learn. So on that very day, after receiving the piece of cloth, the robe has to be sewn and then offered officially to the receiving monastic, okay? And it has to be done within that one same day. So once the monastic has received this new robe, he has to forfeit or relinquish his old robe, right? And then he has to mark the new robe for him to use for the rest of the life of the robe, because you know our robes actually can serve us for a few years. Unless it becomes shredded or whatever, then we will have to look for a new robe. Okay, so this is the meaning of Kathina. Now, many of us do not understand it because we have not been taught the Vinaya rules. It's only, as I was saying, only when we as monastics, we have to learn the Vinaya rules so that we can follow Vinaya rules accordingly. Then we realize, what I was taught in the past actually is not called a Kathina ceremony. It is called a robe offering or requisites offering ceremony, right? Okay, is that clear now? Because there's a lot of confusion about what is a Kathina robe and what is the meaning of robe offering. Now, all these things are done within the first month after the last day of the Vasa period. The last day of Vasa period is actually called Pavarana Day. Pavarana Day is a day, the last day of the 3 months of rains residence, where the monastics, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, okay, especially for us bhikkhunis, we have to come together and then we have to ask for forgiveness and then also ask each other, please tell me, Venerable Sister, what you have heard or seen or suspect that I have done wrong or whatever. So in that way, we try to guide and educate each other so that we can be pure in our conduct of body, speech, and mind. And for monastics, for us bhikkhunis, we have to go to the bhikkhus to also do the same thing, what we call invitation to admonish us. So these are the legal things that we have to follow before we can even think of organizing a Kathina, right? Likewise, for the monks, they too have to do the same thing on Pavarana Day. They have to be pure, they have to be educated, they have to receive admonition if we have not been too good, something that is heard, seen, or suspected, right? So a lot of times all this education is ongoing for the community of monks and nuns so that we can become good and then finally we become pure. This is the reason why staying inside a community of bhikkhus or bhikkhunis is so important. Ajahn Brahm always advises, don't just go and stay on your own when you are not able to really be established in your practice of purification of body, speech, and mind. You need the support of kalyanamitas, right? The Buddha has mentioned to Ananda that Ananda thought that, well, friends are just half the holy life. The Buddha said, no, Ananda, spiritual friends are the whole of the holy life. So this is the reason why community living for a monastic, especially young monastics, nowadays you find a lot of young monastics, I just get my bhikkhu, bhikkhuni ordination, and then off I go, I become my boss of my temple and all those things. A lot of times you find that they either disrobe or they become very worldly in their behavior. Unless you're able to be really established, right, in our practice, and unless we're able to be established in our meditation, without good meditation, it is very dangerous for us to stay on our own. We can be drawn into the worldly life again. We can be tempted because we are not guarding our sense bases well, right? So the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha's Vinaya teachings, code of discipline for those who wants to go into the holy life is so well established, so well thought of. The Buddha, out of compassion, has given all this recommendation for how a monastic should live their life, how a monastic should be frugal, and this is the reason why I think the Metta Sutta is so good. Any one of us, okay, whether we are lay or from lay to monastics, I always think that as long as we follow the Mangala Sutta and the Metta Sutta, we can't go wrong. But we must know how to put all those teachings into practice. And this is the reason why living within a community, living with all of you as the lay community, who, when looking at us, if you find that, okay, Ayya Upekkha, you're not behaving well or whatever, right? You can just say Ayya Upekkha or come to Ajahn Brahm. Ayya Upekkha has done this thing. I think it's not really good to arouse the faith of the devotees or to increase the faith of the supporters and all those things, right? If you find that we really are misbehaving, but don't just go and badmouth a monastic that you don't like or you have no affinity with. There's a lot of such things ongoing, or spreading gossips about a monastic when there's no truth in it. There's a lot of such things ongoing. It is not pure. So for us, whether monastics are lay, to be on the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha actually has recommended quite a number of suttas for us to guide us on how we should be practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, not only as a monastic only, also for the lay, so that we can really, really benefit from the practice itself, leading to the Noble Eightfold Path. I was reading a sutta called, I can't remember the Pali name, but I think it's in the Sanyutta Nikaya called the Flood. The importance of the Noble Eightfold Path is there. Everything from how one can actually abandon our fetters, abandon our clingings, abandon our bonds, our wrong views. All these enlightenment factors and all those things all are based on the Noble Eightfold Path. And this is the reason why for us monastics, we have to be very familiar with the Dhamma and the Vinaya. They are not there to restrain us. Neither is it there for all of you to control one another. We practice not for fault-finding others. We practice to ensure that we are on the path of purification. So all this community interaction, okay, lay and monastics or amongst monastics themselves, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, all those things, if we are able to live in harmony, in peace, supporting one another, helping one another without controlling one another, that is the recommendation of Lord Buddha. This is the reason why Lord Buddha always set up Vinaya rules to guide, to help, guide us towards the path of purification and all that. So this is the reason why today we thought that it is actually a good opportunity for us to really explain the true meaning of Kathina. I do not know whether there's any question, but again, I want to emphasize what we are offering the 1 month immediately after Pavarana Day, okay, the robes, those ready sewn robes, the requisites, and everything that you offered. Within this 1 month, right, they are also considered meritorious actions. It is all within the so-called Kathina month, but it is not spreading of Kathina. It is actually called a robe offering or requisites offering. I hope you all are clear about the difference between the robe offering ceremony and the spreading of Kathina. Have I been clear? Yeah, good enough. Any question? No? No question? No question? I have another story to tell. Any question from anyone? Okay, no. Okay. I know that, the elderly Buddhist community, we have seen how dedicated they are. The dedication, the effort they put in, they are really so dedicated to supporting monasteries and supporting monastics, okay? But we find that there's a little bit of lack in the young generation now, maybe because of modernization, maybe because of too much activities in their young life, maybe because that they were not really brought to understand the true meaning of how Buddhism can really benefit us. We do not know. Yesterday we had a session with the teens group, right? Yeah, and there are certain things that we noticed. So we are hoping that when the parents bring their children to the Dhamma school as little kids or even as a teens group or whatever, there must be something for them to really hold on to support them in times of need in the future. Okay, so the right effort that is found in the Noble Eightfold Path, it is very important. Ajahn Brahm always tells us, you must know how to use right effort at the right place. Okay, you don't just use right effort to make sure that I have my good shopping list there. I go to a supermarket, I have the effort to make sure I look for the thing that I really like and all those things. These are effort. But the right effort that Buddha talks about is how it can lead us towards awakening to the truth taught by the Lord Buddha. Okay, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is eventually, as Ajahn Brahm always emphasized, I mean, in the past I never understood, what do you mean giving up? Why do I give up? Finally, I understood that, okay, giving up means you give up all your negativity, the negativity that we have, the desires, the ill will, the deluded mind, the fault-finding mind, all those things we have to give up. But right effort has to be applied at the right places. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a story that I really like. Even as a lay person, when I heard this story, I thought that was good. I even recorded a little cartoon version of this story. I'm quite sure many of you have heard it, but it all points to one fact, that right effort with sincerity and joy of the heart of the person who is giving, okay, or offering something, is so important. It is so immeasurable. Have you all heard about that old woman who sold her hair to buy a lamp during the Buddha's time? Yes? Have you heard? No? Okay. What happened is that, during the Buddha's time, there's no electricity or other things. So lighting a lamp is very important. So at that time, they have oil lamps, right? So of course, the people who are rich, they will just go to this person who is selling oil and wick and all that and get a lamp lighted for those people who are able to afford to buy a lamp. But there's this very old lady. She's so poor. She wanted to buy a lamp, but she had no money. So what did she do? She looked around and observe and all that. And then finally she said, okay, no matter what, I also want to contribute towards lighting a lamp for this teaching that the Lord Buddha is going to give us tonight. Because during that time, nighttime, there's no street light, no nothing. It's so dark, right? And Buddha is always in the forest. It's also very dark. Okay, sometimes maybe it's in the building. The lights are not as bright as what we have here, right? So the elderly woman, very old woman, okay, I still remember the cartoon. She go clock, clock with a walking stick. Oh, I want to light a lamp. What can I do? Then finally she said, I have nothing to offer. Can I exchange my hair, my long hair? You just give me what is needed so that I can light a lamp. Have you all heard this story? So the old woman decided to sell her long hair just to get a lamp lighted for the ceremony that Lord Buddha is giving a sermon. So of course the person was there saying, your hair is not worth a lamp. Okay, I can't give you the full lamp. Then the old woman was, oh please, just give me enough to light a lamp for Lord Buddha tonight. Whatever my hair is worth, even if it's a little lamp, a little wick, as long as I have a little lamp, that's good enough for me. So, okay, finally, this person, out of some compassion, said, okay, I'm going to give you this lamp, but you're just going to get this little bit of wick with a little bit of oil. It's okay. So the woman was so joyous. She actually went and offered the lamp, put her lamp together with the other lamp offerings from other people. All right? And then what happened? When there's something good going on, who will always come to interfere? Starts with M, right? Everybody knows that. Mara was not happy. Oh, there's something going on here. I'm not going to make it happen. I'm going to destroy. I'm not going to make it successful. So he came in the form of, I don't know what. I think it's a dragon or a naga or something. And he blew at all the oil lamps. So all the oil lamps were blown off. All went out. All those with full wicks and oil all went out, except for one. I'm quite sure you know which one, right? There's only one lamp still burning, right? So of course, out of curiosity, the people there asked the Lord Buddha, why is it that all other lamps are blown out? Why is this lamp still lighting out? It has little oil, it's not as full as others. Why is it still being lighted up? Then the Buddha said, it's because of that sincerity, the joy, the effort that this elderly lady has put in. That lamp belongs to her. It was such a lovely story. I always remember it. That's why right effort is very important. Whatever we do, don't just think of simple ways to get things done. Right effort is so important, especially when it comes to a meritorious action. It's so, so important. Right? So that is a story. It's not only for little kids. I mean, it was the little cartoon that I saw and all that after the monastics told me the story. I found that story is actually good for elderly people too. Because, a lot of times we tend to be lazy. And in the Buddha's teaching, he always mentioned that the Dhamma is not for those who are lazy. The Dhamma is for those who are really persistent in the efforts and all that. That's part of the Buddha's teaching. So in order for us to practice the Noble Eightfold Path, there are teachings by Lord Buddha, like the 8 thoughts of a great man, how to completely follow the Noble Eightfold Path right to the end, right? And also the importance why the Noble Eightfold Path is so important for us. So, okay, so Kathina or no Kathina, whatever it is, there's always the right effort. Now then, this I'd like to mention because I know that committee has been going through a lot of meetings. How do we support those of you who are here and who are not able to drive long distance and all that? They are thinking of having bus rides and all those things, making it easy for everyone to be there to really witness the Kathina ceremony at Newbury. It is very rare for us to find a true Kathina ceremony. Very rare. Okay, so this is the second year that Newbury is going to have a Kathina Day. If you really want to understand what it's like, be there. I know that for the children it may be a bit too long and all that, and we are hoping that everyone from here can actually participate in the Newbury Kathina celebration, it's not easy to see that the cloth that is offered, okay? I think what happens is that the cloth probably will go through the hands of everybody so that it is a shared offering, okay, due to the compassion of the person who is offering the cloth. I believe that it is going to be held in a procession, and it's going to go through the hands of everybody to have a part of the offering. And once the monks receive the offering of the cloth, they have to quickly rush back, cut it, measure, cut it, and sew it, put them together, and then offer it to the recipient monastic. Okay, hopefully if we have enough bhikkhunis in the future, we too can hold a Kathina, but we have to have 5 bhikkhunis observing Vasa together at the same place at the same time. Okay, now this is Kathina. I'm not going to talk about the privileges of the Sangha for having Kathina. That is something that the Sangha needs to know, but not the laity, but maybe sometimes it's helpful too. But this is the what I call the true meaning of what a Kathina offering is all about. Okay? Questions?
Okay, we'll take questions from the audience. So we'll be rotating between the in-person audience and the online audience. For those on Discord, on YouTube, sorry, you can use the raise hand feature if you like. So any questions in the in-person audience here?
No questions means I'm either very blur or very clear.
Kwangwei, do you want to move on to an online question?
Thank you, Ayya, for a very interesting talk, and at least I learned something about the actual ceremony. Really appreciate that. There is a question from YouTube, and it is about the Vinaya. The question, in essence, is about making good decisions requires 4 things. Don't act up to personal desire, hatred, ignorance, and fear. But in doing so, what if you have to break a precept? So essentially, out of compassion, does it mean that you may have to take actions that could lead you to break one of the precepts in order to achieve these 4 things?
I didn't quite actually get the first part of the question.
Yeah, so the first part of the question, because they are reflecting on the Vinaya and some of the teachings, including Ajahn Brahm, they understand it to mean that to take a good decision, you have to focus on 4 things. So not act to personal desire, hatred, ignorance, and fear. So to avoid this, what if you have to break a precept?
What if you have to break a precept? Why do you need to break a precept, first of all? Yeah, do you really need to break a precept?
So that is their...
So that is my question, actually. So I really can't say that you really need to break a precept in whatever circumstances, but sometimes in order to save a life or something, you may break a precept. Whereas other things, I always believe that truthfulness is always something that we have to practice. And this is the reason why, actually, before I started this talk here, I was thinking that the weather here is so cool and calm here. I really thank Mother Nature for giving this what you call good weather here, because in other parts of maybe Australia and elsewhere, there are fires ongoing, floods ongoing, all those things. So all those things are there, right? So for the breaking of a precept, unless it is meant to save the life of something or whatever, I'm not sure why a precept should be broken. Okay, I do understand that there are instances, okay? I can tell you something that is very practical. For monastics, okay? For monastics, we used to live in Singapore. We used to go to temples, right? And some temples are very old. They are actually invested with what called termites. Termites. So termites will be eating at the beams of the main hall, right? And the monasteries are run by the monastics and the lay supporter, right? The supporters and the committee and the monastics have to make a decision. What if the beam drop on the congregation below? So the monastics and the committee needs to make a decision. That means you have to kill. What can we do? So when I was a layperson, our teacher always tell us, when you have to make a decision as difficult as this, right? You have to really, gauge whose life is more important to us, the human life or the insect life. It is something that is unavoidable. This is something that as a monastic I had to go through too, even when it comes to dealing with beehives. Children are running around and there's a beehive just at the Bodhi tree. Children are there. Adults are faithfully just circumambulating the Bodhi tree and all that. But there's this risk that the bees will attack the people below. All these are things that we have to decide upon. It is definitely breaking a precept. That's why when it comes to other precepts, I'm not too sure. But when it comes to the importance of life between insects and animals, these are things that I myself have gone through. My teacher actually asked me, are you comfortable to do this thing or not? To decide whether to get the, what do you call that, pesticide company, what do you call that? Yeah, to come and remove the insects, okay? Even especially when it's hornets, it can kill people, right? These are decisions that we have to make. So what do? What our teacher tells us to do is, you talk to the insects. This is what we do. You may think that we are so foolish people, you're talking to insects. Do they understand you? But it's the positive energy from us. We talk to the insects to say that, hey, look, I know you need to build a home. You are most welcome to stay here. But the thing is that you are posing a risk to the children around, to the people around, especially to the termites. When the termites are there, it's very impossible not to get them removed. Otherwise, the whole building may be eaten and collapse. So our teacher always tells us, now this is the teacher's instructions for us as a monastic or even as a layperson. Talk to the insects, okay? Tell them that we do not wish to harm you. We know you need a home, but because you pose as a risk to the life of the people around us, we really hope that you can move your house, build your house somewhere else. We are going to take action in 1 week. We are going to call in the people here to remove the nest. We really hope that you can move your house. Okay? So these are the things that we do. Right? This is the reason why Lord Buddha tells us monastics don't stay put in one place, because once we are attached to one place, things start to happen. So if we move from tree to tree, which we nuns can't do, bhikkhunis cannot move from tree to tree, right? Not like the monks. Yeah. So these are difficult situations that we monastics are faced with, not only for you as a lay preceptor, right? For us monastics, we have to see whether the situation calls for an action to ensure that no human lives is at risk. So we talk to the insects. Okay, sometimes you're successful. I remember there was one occasion, there was in our monastic residence where I come from, Singapore, there was just this huge beehive on a Bodhi tree, our Bodhi tree, right at the corner of the garden. And it was not a hardened kind of thing. It was just all the bees all molting on each other. I don't know what to call that. There was just this thick layer of bees, right, on top of each other. So, of course, again, the teacher will say, okay, Ayya Upekkha, we can see the situation. What do you think you are comfortable enough to make a decision or whatever? Speak to the senior nuns and monks and see who else need to do something. So for me, I felt that whoever does it will have to bear with the consequences of killing. So I told my teacher, it's okay, I'll do it. I'm the most junior, I'll do it. Okay. So my senior monks and nuns were very compassionate. Are you sure you're comfortable? I said, look, Sifu, someone has to do it. Someone has to bear the consequences. I'm just very new to the monastic life. Let me do it. I think that time, oh yes, I was already a monastic. So I actually did what my teacher asked me to do. There were two occasions. One was a beehive in our temple monastery environment. One was a beehive at our place of residence for the nuns. So for the temple monastery, for the temple environment where there was a beehive, we all, not only me, we all spoke to the bees. Okay, 1 week later, we are going to get the company in. And of course, when the company come in, you cannot tell them not to kill. They are not here to observe your precept. I'm paid for a job, I'm just going to remove what you asked me to remove, because for them, human lives are more important. So we waited for 1 week, and then the company came in, and remove the whole beehive. We did see some dead bees. We did see some dead bees, right? Of course, we don't feel happy as monastics. Who wants to do killing, even of insects? Now, I think in our Pachitya rule, correct me if I'm wrong, in our Pachitya rule, killing of insects is a confessionable rule. Killing of insects is in our 166 rules. Killing of insects is a Pachitya rule. If any monastics is listening in, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but this is how I remember it. But human life, it is parajika. If you knowingly know that there's a cost for a human life to be taken or at risk, you have to do something about it, right? So at that 2 occasions, okay, the one in the temple in the Bodhi tree, the nest was removed because it was a hard beehive, and there was some still inside there, but there wasn't a lot. Okay, so I believe some of them have flown away. But for the beehive that was being built in our nuns' residence at that time, we talked to them again 1 week later, we're coming. Within a few days, every bee was gone. Believe it? That's why we are all parts of nature. We are all energies in nature, interacting with nature. At first, when Ajahn Brahm says that we're all part of nature, when a teacher said that we are nothing, this is not, you are not a person, you are just part of nature, we're just a process and all those things, I couldn't understand it as a new Buddhist practitioner. Even as a monastic, I couldn't understand. What do you mean I'm just part of nature? I'm here, me. I got flesh and bones and blood and everything. But why am I part of nature? But then later on, slowly, when you understand what the Dhamma is all about, then you understand what the teachers are trying to explain to us. We are part of a process of nature. Okay? The bee is no different from us as a human being. We are all parts of nature. And we're all energy interacting with energy. So sometimes you have dark energy and dark energy, bright energy and bright energy, dark energy and bright energy, bright energy and dark energy. All these things are in the suttas. They are in the suttas. Right? So we try our best to upkeep our precepts well. But whoever makes a decision, we have to be ready to bear the consequence of making a decision. We have to. Right? So these are things that sometimes call for necessary action to break a precept. But other than those 5 precepts, if you are a lay person, you have 5 precepts, right? Other than that, killing a human is definitely a no, right? Hurting sometimes may be necessary. For instance, like somebody come into the house, want to injure your family members or whatever. You probably want to defend your family, but you don't have to kill. You can think of other ways. You may hurt. But still, the decision carries a karmic result. We have to understand that whatever decision, good or bad, okay, we are the heir of the karma. This is the law of nature. It's not created by Lord Buddha. It's not created by any monks or nuns. It was the law of nature causality, okay, that the Lord Buddha was awakened to when he became enlightened on that very night. It's cause and conditions, causes, conditions, results, causes, conditions, results. It's all that, good or bad. So every fortnight we have this monastic reflection. One of them includes the days and nights are relentlessly passing. How well are we spending our time? And that's another one that is very important. We are all heir to our karma, right? We are born of our karma. We are supported by our karma, right? Whether good or bad, we are all the creators of our own karma. We are all architects of our own karma. We are all architects and engineers of what we're going to be. Whether good or bad, we are all responsible. So this is the beautiful teaching of Lord Buddha, right? Where he is encouraging us to do good at every opportunity that we have. Put in the correct effort with right view. Everything comes from right view. I know this Bante Arana Vihari always samadhi. Without samadhi, everything else doesn't fall into place correctly, which is true. Samadhi, right view, right understanding, right intention, right? And this is the reason why you are talking about breaking our precepts. For us nuns and monks, right, we are not supposed to cut trees. We are not supposed to dig soil, because trees, plants, soil, they are all considered one faculty beings, one faculty. The soil allows our veggies and plants to grow. The plants, they give us oxygen. They give us shade. They give homes to birds and other animals and all that. A lot of things are benefiting us human beings, but how well are we human beings benefiting Mother Nature? So when we actually pose the question to people, we all can name a whole list of how Mother Nature is benefiting us humans. But how well are we humans benefiting nature? We are so destructive. We are so destructive. Some people say, well, you can put my poo-poo onto a tree and it can grow. You can put my urine on the tree and it can grow. Okay, besides these two things, what else can you do? Okay, nowadays people say, well, we can actually plant more trees. Yep, that is very beneficial. But other than that, what are we doing to Mother Nature? You can ask Ayya, every day when we have dana, I don't know whether it happens here or not, but every day when we have dana up in Newbury, we plead with the diekas, please, bring back your food for dinner. Share it with your friends or relatives. Deep freeze it or whatever. Because for us monastics, we don't take dinner. We don't want to see the food, which I heard that a lot of people talking about how the supermarket bills have gone up by so many %, right? Don't waste food. Eat it. How many millions of people have nothing to eat? And when people just throw their food out there, oh my goodness, your heart just bleeds. All these are simple Dhamma that we have to follow every day. I don't like to talk about what is consciousness, what is jhana, and all those things. It's for those who are really into very deep meditation. But for us as a normal being, sentient being, okay? Recently I read a piece of news that Australia is going to, endorse a bill to say that we have to consider animals as sentient. I read it somewhere. I don't know whether it's really a good piece of news or not, but I was thinking, wow, does it mean that less animals are going to be killed in a very cruel way? Does it mean that less animals are going to be reared in a very cruel way? And who are they reared for? All these things are very practical, day-to-day kind acts of compassion with wisdom that we have to start with. We don't want to talk about the very lofty Buddha's teaching. We just talk about how to be a basic good human being. How many of us can do that? Sometimes I question myself too. Am I following the Buddha's teaching, the very basics? Am I? So all these things, we have to be very mindful. This is where the right effort has to be applied. Okay, it's 10:42. I better zip my mouth. Is there any more question?
Any other questions? There is a quick one on the YouTube. I don't know if you want to take.
Okay, yeah. I just had a reminder from Ayya that maybe some people do not know what is the meaning of parajika. It is actually the heaviest offense that a monastic commits, right? When you actually recommend or praise the taking of life of a human being. Yeah, that's why for us as a monk or nun, don't come and tell us, Ayya, should I pull the plug on my parents? Ayya, should I euthanize so and so or whatever? We will not give you an answer. It means that once we say, yes, go ahead, do it, we are no more a monk or a nun. It is a very strong offense to even praise killing. So for us in our mind, sometimes, okay, this country and that country is fighting and all those things. And then if we said, well, that person deserved to die. Hey, venerable, be mindful. These are the things we all have to be very aware of. And it's not just venerables. It's those of us who label ourselves as Buddhists. My teacher in Singapore used to tell us this. As long as there's killing of animals, there will always be wars among human beings. Because the notion of killing is there. It's all in the seed, in the consciousness, killing. It's all there. If you can kill an animal without a blink of the eye, you can kill a human being. Our teacher always reminds us, as long as killing of animals is not stopped, human will always face wars. Does it make sense to you? It's up to you to decide. It makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, it's a bit it's too soon.
There is a I think, a quick question from YouTube, and it's about monastics where there are less than 5 in residence together during Vasa. How would they be able to receive new robes? And does Kathina have any significance for them? I suppose it's a compassion for such.
Okay, that's where the robe offering comes in. You know, those ready sewn robes, a lot of times when we have like a robe offering or whatever, we get a lot of robes from all of you. So if anybody needs a robe, we have to prove that, okay, my robe is shredded, it cannot be used anymore. How am I going to make use of this robe? So we either turn it. A lot of times we really hope that the shredded robe, a very old shredded robe, can be used for cementing something or whatever, or it can be used as a rag or whatever, something that we can use when it becomes shredded. And then when the nun or the monk needs a robe, he will go to the what we call a storekeeper, who is also a monastic, to say that Venerable so-and-so, I do need a robe because my robe is already worn out and it's breaking down and all that. So once we are given the robe, we have to relinquish this old robe, and then we have to what we call bindu, we have to mark the robe as our robe, and then we start to use it from that day. Okay, but the thing is that the difference between the Kathina robe and the robes that you offered during the 1 month season immediately after Kathina is that whatever robes you offer to us, we are not able to keep them for a certain amount of days. So this is the reason why whatever robes you offer to us will be kept into the storehouse, right? And then it will be able to be used by anyone who needs a robe. Whereas the Kathina robe is definitely going to be used. It's definitely going to be used. So even for monasteries who actually invite the lay people, come, kind of put a few stitches onto this robe. We want to offer this robe to the community of monks or nuns. It is okay, go ahead, but it's not considered as a Kathina robe. It is considered as a robe offering robe. Okay, so that is the difference between Kathina robe. Kathina robe is sewn by the monks or nuns themselves, whereas the robe offering robes can be sewn by anyone or can be a ready-made robe that is purchased by you to be offered to the monastics. That's the very big difference. Okay, so yeah, that's and we monks and nuns, monks have 3 robes, nuns have 5. 5 meaning the upper robe, outer robe, and under robe, bathing cloth, and a jacket or a vest. That's for nuns. Whereas for the monks, they only have 3 robes and a bowl. So the 3 robes and a bowl for monks, the sangati, which is the outer robe, the upper robe, and the lower robe. Okay, so the monks are only allowed to receive bathing cloth during which season is it? Rain season, yeah. So monks have 3 robes, nuns have 5 robes, and we use that 5 robes. Jackets, sometimes we have extras because we have to bathe and all those things. You know, one of our rules, training rules, is that, you know, if we are not sick or if the weather is not hot or whatever, we cannot even take a shower or a bath for about 2 weeks, fortnight, right? Can you imagine how much we will stink? But that's the Buddha's way of telling monastics, don't cling to your body. Coming back to my Chinese teaching in Singapore, my teacher say, you all have to bathe in the morning, you have to bathe in the evening, all those things. You are so attached to the body. Okay, listen to me. Try not bathing for 3 days. In the Singapore weather, my goodness, you're going to smell all the sourness of the body. Yeah. That is training us how to let go of smells and cleanliness and all those things, unless it's going to cause us sickness, okay? The Buddha is always very compassionate. If we don't do this and then we become sick or whatever, then you are able to go ahead and do it. So we have to know our Vinaya rules very well. And we also hope that you also can understand our Vinaya rules, okay, especially the important ones, so that you can support the Sangha according to Vinaya rules, not according to likes and dislikes of the Sangha. And this is the reason why, you know, for us in Newbury Buddhist Monastery, unless you are all related to us through blood relation, okay, we can ask you for something. But if you're not related to us through blood relation, we have to wait for an invitation for you to give us something, right? So there are 2 kinds of invitation. One is a 4 months invitation, and one is a lifelong invitation. Why is it 4 months? It's because India's season has 3 seasons of 4 months, and usually requests for things are according to the agricultural kind of what they call supply. 4 months they have all these things. So when you say, Ayya Upekkha, if you need anything, can I buy it for you? Okay, remember, when you tell me that, you give me the invitation, it stays for 4 months. Okay, and if I have something that is very, very expensive, which is actually against the Vinaya rules, sometimes you feel bad not to supply me with that. That's why we always tell our devotees up in Newbury Buddhist Monastery, before you make an offering to any monastic, especially when it's a lifelong offering. Lifelong means, Ayya Upekkha, as long as you live, I'm happy to support you in anything you need. Or Ayya Upekkha, as long as I live, just let me know what you need. I'm happy to supply you with whatever you need. With whatever you need can be a lot of things. I may want to fly to the Great Wall of China. I may want to fly to Paris. I may want to fly to Bali, whoever. Are you able to give me the tickets? So please be very careful. They are all in our Vinaya rules. Monks and nuns are not supposed to ask for excessively expensive things. Okay? These are in our Vinaya rules. So it's up to you all to judge for yourself. Okay? What you can give, what you cannot give. And there's one more thing that I really want to take this opportunity to emphasize too. When you have an appointment with your family members, okay, and then one of the monastics asks you, Adrian, tomorrow I need to go to a doctor. Can you please fetch me? Then you'll be scratching my head. Oh, tomorrow my dear wife also has an appointment. What do I do? Monastic come first or my wife come first? Then sometimes, wife, can you ask your doctor to cancel your appointment, arrange for another one? I bring the monastic. Monastics are holy people. I must go and pick them up. Please don't do that. When your wife has an appointment first, attend to your wife first. The monastics have group A, group B, group C, group D, group Z to ask for help. Okay? But your wife only have you. Huh?
Uber.
Yeah, you can use Uber or whatever. But you see, for us nuns, we cannot have a male driver to fetch us. We're breaking our rule. So if the Uber driver is a male, then another nun will have to come with me, or another woman must come with me. Yeah. So if you are talking about those of us, we really appreciate what Ajahn Brahm is teaching us about really observing your Vinaya rule as strictly as possible, as close as possible to what the Buddha is teaching us, so that the purity of the Sangha can be preserved, so that the purity of the Dhamma can be preserved. We can become quite, a support for all of you to take care of us. But it is all for the benefit of the fourfold community. We reciprocate. If we are given all this opportunity to practice our Vinaya rules well, then we can really understand the Dhamma well, and then we can actually preserve the purity of the Sangha lineage and the purity of the Dhamma. It works that way. The Buddha did not impose all those rules just to ensure that we are being restricted and all that. No, it's for us to guard our sense bases. It's for us to guard our purity. It's for us to guard the purity of the Dhamma. It's very important. It's very important. Otherwise, you'll find a lot of funny teachings ongoing. You know, these few days, I'm actually dealing with a case from Singapore, where some laity are being misled into doing something, and they are like, I'm so sorry I had you involved under that. We cannot blame the laity. They do not know what are the rules. So, you know, I may be here. I have to deal with some Singaporean problems when they have some misleading kind of requests imposed on them, because, you know, the power of rope, either you abuse it or you use it properly. The power of the rope, it is very powerful. Either you abuse it and then you answer to your karma, or you use it to benefit others, you are also answerable to your good karma. Okay? All good? Is there any more questions? Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, so as usual, let me do a quick dedication of merits to the Devas. I believe they are all over us, all around us. Let's do it. You may not have it on the, I'm not sure whether it's there, but I'm quite sure many of you know how to do it. I always like to do a sermon or an Dhamma exchange or Q&A with this dedication of merits to the Devas, to the Buddhas, and to all Sattas, because they are always there supporting us with our knowledge. We have to really acknowledge their existence. Yeah. Okay, please together if you are able to. If you can recall it, yeah. Okay. Akasatta Shabunmatta Deva Naga Mahittika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Sharang Ratkantu Loka Sasanang Akasatta Shabunmatta Deva Naga Mahittika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Sharang Ratkantu Desanang Akasatta Shabunmatta Deva Naga Mahittika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Sharang Ratkantu Mang Parang Itavata Shamhehi Sampatang Punya Sampadang Sappe Deva Anumodantu Sappa Sampatti Siddhya Etavata Shamhehi Sampatang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Bhuta Anumodantu Sappa Sampatti Siddhya Etavata Shamhehi Sampatang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Satta Anumodantu Sappa Sampatti Siddhya Idam Vonyati Nang Hotu Sukhita Hontu Nyatayo Idam Vonyati Nang Hotu Sukhita Hontu Nyatayo Idam Vonyati Nang Hotu Sukhita Hontu Nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So let us now pay respect to the Buddha, not to just an image. We will now pay respect to Ayya Upekkha. Oh, that's a new one. I will gracefully accept it. Sukhi hotu, may all of you be well and happy and really get awakened to the truth taught by the Buddha. Okay, let's all now bow to the Lord Buddha, not to an image, but recollecting the qualities of Lord Buddha for giving us such a wonderful teaching to help us live our life meaningfully and with a purpose. Okay, thank you all so much for the opportunity.